we'd lost 3 on the bounce, and although we didn't record after Southampton, I think it's fair to say that we were all incredibly downbeat about our chances of getting in the top 4 after these 3 losses in a row. And you can't lose 3 games in a row at this point of the season and it not affects whatever you are trying to achieve. It doesn't matter where you are in the league. But we didn't expect to beat Chelsea away. And on paper, Chelsea away is the hardest game that we've had in this that we were going to have in this run-in. And we have got some tricky games. Tottenham away is obviously tricky for all kinds of reasons. West Ham away is tricky for all kinds of reasons. But on paper, away at the European champions is the hardest game. And we've won. And we are level on points with Tottenham. We've got played the same games. So it's all kind of, they're ahead of us on goal difference. What do you think? How do you feel now about our prospects of finishing in the top 4?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, right before the game yesterday, I pretty much had written it off. Like it was kind of like giving us a 5 or 10% chance, just purely because Tottenham might capitulate worse than we might. So yeah, I didn't expect the result yesterday, and I think it's such a tough one, right? Because you don't want to get carried away, you don't want to get excited, but it's hard not to, because like you said, that on paper was our toughest game. We've got potentially, I don't know what the situation with Tomiyasu is. It sounds like he's almost like he's back in training, so hopefully he's back soon. Partey, I think they're trying to get back before the end of the season. You've now got Eddie Nketiah, who's just got a couple of goals, and hopefully that is something that could potentially be massive for us for the rest of the season. So there's a couple of things that have just like literally in the space of the game yesterday or in the last couple of days that have massive positives to kind of focus on when it comes to our running. I still feel like it's so hard because you look at the fixtures, right, and you basically cannot predict. Like you just can't predict game by game. Like we do it, right? We do it at the end of our podcast, and generally we're I don't know how close we get, but probably 50% right, 50% wrong, pretty much, because like it's just so unpredictable. No one would have said we'd lose those 3 games. Like how have we come out of those 3 games with 0 points, and then like I think you tweeted it yesterday, right, and then gone and beaten the European champions in their own like backyard. So I feel like we have an absolutely fantastic chance, and I'm a lot more positive than what I was 24 hours ago, or not 24 hours ago, but before the game yesterday, obviously. I'm very, very interested to see what happens on Saturday against United, because if we beat United, and I know it's a massive if and everything, but if we beat United, like we're 3 points clear of them now with the game in hand, so that becomes 6 points, and they'll only have 4 games left.
Yeah.
So you're I mean, United, if United lose, if you put it like this, United lose again, and we've got a 6-point buffer on them, and they've only got 4 games left to catch that up. Like that is a tough ask. That is a very tough ask. No matter what fixtures we've got, they're bang out of form at the moment, and like half of their players are pretty much on holiday. I think Ralph's on holiday. Like, so that in itself, in terms of a result and the 3 points, would be massive. Obviously, we need the 3 points, but that almost like eliminate, it doesn't, but it almost eliminates United from the equation, right? And then it becomes almost like a straight shoot off between us and Tottenham. And then the pressure, and also because we play first, I mean, if we're just looking at this weekend's games, then because we're playing first, then the pressure goes to Tottenham again. I think they're away at Brentford, and Brentford are flying at the moment. I think they're like 2nd or 3rd in the form table. That's not an easy game for them. So, yeah, like I'm kind of quietly confident, or even though we're talking about it openly, I'm quietly confident that it's definitely back on, and it's obviously in our hands because we go to Spurs. But if there's a very good chance that it's going to come down to that. Like that Spurs game is going to be the thing, and I mean, who knows? Like, how do you just don't know? Like, you just don't know, right? Like with a game like that, North London derby, and Kane always scores against us, but then again, we have, like it's just who knows? So
Yeah.
I'm kind of focused on the United game, and I'm very much looking forward to hopefully like beating them. It'll be huge. It'll be huge.
Yeah, let's get into the United game probably in a second. I think one thing I wanted to add to your thing is something that we discussed on this podcast quite often in the last few weeks, which is around narratives, and it's around what clubs have to play for, which is what makes the remaining fixtures so difficult to analyze. Because you could probably say, on the face of it, going away to Chelsea is extremely hard. Is going away to Chelsea as hard when they've just been knocked out of the Champions League? They know they can't finish above, second or whatever. They know that, third is probably the max they can get. All those things factor into, how you're going to play a team. And so when you look at the rest of the, fixtures, when you look at stuff like on the face of it, Spurs have got Burnley at home, second last game of the season or whatever. But what if that's the game that could keep Burnley up? Right? And all those little things, when we play West Ham, how is it that when we play West Ham in correlation to their kind of Europa games and, all that kind of stuff? So it makes it really, really hard. And that will bring me on nicely, I think, to the United game, right? So there's all this kind of crazy stuff going on at United right now, right? They've just announced today that Ten Hag will take over as manager in the summer. They've just announced that. That comes a few days after their last game, which they played, and who did they play? They lost to Liverpool. They understandably lost to Liverpool. And Ten Hag said words to the effect after that game and continuing a trend. Sorry, not Ten Hag. Rangnick said, and continuing a trend of what Rangnick has said in recent weeks. He's basically sort of increased the number of players that he's sort of indicating might leave and they might sign. And he sort of said words to the effect of, in the summer, we might sign 6, 7, 10 players. And I think the thing that he keeps on set, what I'm hearing every week is he's basically saying, well, these players are crap. And we're doing a complete overhaul in the summer. I don't, if you're saying you're going to sign 10 players, that basically means you're going to sell a lot of players. Yeah. And maybe there are some players in that squad who are going, do you know what? I want to be part of this revolution. So I'm going to play so hard to make sure I'm not one of those players that go. But to be honest, I feel the way that he's kind of been communicating and the messaging and what I see from Man United on the pitch, it's almost like you've got a bunch of players who are just really demotivated and just feel like, they're just, maybe they feel like they're unloved by the new era or that might be incoming. I don't know what it is. But there's certainly a narrative there. What might not be helpful is now they've named their new manager. Is there going to be players going, right, he's watching now. I better, make a good impression. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, on that last point, I don't know, it's, these days, I say these days, like I'm really old, but, these days, the news about Ten Hag broke weeks ago, right? And Fabrizio was tweeting about it. So you would think that the players probably knew, even if it's unofficially. And you can't, it's almost like if you're going from the Liverpool game that they just played to playing us, and you're sort of saying, will there be an uplift in performance because of that manager confirmation or announcement? But Liverpool for them is it's like Spurs for us, it's huge. And there were a couple of Mancunians playing in that game, like Rashford, Lingard, and they were two of the worst players on the pitch who just showed, just as little as pretty much all the other United players. So I don't really buy that. I'm not really sure that comes into it as such. I think, I don't know. There's always this thing about United where, obviously we lost them earlier in the season, right? And that was a really frustrating loss. And obviously we lost to a Ronaldo penalty. And it's kind of there's always this thing about United where even where they're potentially not, they've not been particularly great over the last few seasons, neither have we, arguably. But it feels like every time we play them, we should beat them, we should get result. We always seem to disappoint for whatever reason, something happens in the match or whatever. And I guess I don't know if Ronaldo is going to be back or not, but just as kind of, if you're one of the other players in that United team, you're basically, looking at Ronaldo every game to bail, and he is bailing them out. And then they find out he's obviously not starting against Liverpool. And I think they're probably mentality is probably quite like defeatist, I could imagine, for the rest of those players. Could be like they're probably thinking like, well, like Liverpool are ridiculously good, and we don't even, and now we don't have Ronaldo. Like, how the hell are we going to win this game? And that kind of showed in the effort they put in and the performance they put in. If Ronaldo's back, that is, obviously he's a quality player, world class player, can win a game on his own. But the boost that might give to the other players that are going to be playing, the other United players, that is a little bit of a concern. And we just don't, like, I guess we don't know, right, what's happening with Ronaldo. So, yeah, that's a bit of a concern. But like, I think if we, like, our performances, even in the games that the Palace performance was pretty bad. I didn't really catch much of the Brighton game, if I'm being honest. I know that wasn't great. The performance against Southampton wasn't all that bad. Like, yeah, we dominated. We had lots of shots. And obviously the Chelsea game just now. I feel like if we can kind of continue a bit of a trend with a good performance on Saturday, I see no reason why we can't beat them. But I think we always say this when we're like about to play United. It's like there's no reason why we can't beat them. We're probably a better team than them.
We are, yeah.
It's not like they're in particularly good form, but this is the thing I said to you guys a few weeks ago when we were talking about the top 4 race. It's like they've got match winners. Like they've got Sancho could just turn up. He hasn't had a fantastic season, but he could just turn up and he could win the game. Ronaldo could win the game. Rashford could, potentially win the game, or, and there's other players like that. Cavani's not fit, but they've got these match winners in their squad. So that's kind of like my concern. Yeah, I don't know. How are you feeling?
Well, I guess, do you know what? I might actually just kick off with my prediction on this, right? And then explain why.
Okay.
Like, I think we'll win. And I think we'll win. There's two main reasons why I think we'll win. One, I think if you look across our results this season, I'm sure someone can correct me on this, but from memory, it feels like we're quite a form team in terms of we very rarely win a game randomly and then go back to losing or go back to drawing. It feels like when we win a game, we generally have put a run together because, maybe it's because the guys are pretty young and I don't know, there's just a lot of that confidence, that buoyancy, that, that feeling. There's going to be a lot of adrenaline that came off the back, of the Chelsea game. And I know there's always the chance that, there's a come down for that. But I feel that the games are so close that actually in some ways that probably serves us quite well, because that adrenaline may just genuinely keep running, like that kind of, just the momentum, etc. And I think the other reason I think we'll win is I think that United's players right now, partly because of the confidence thing, but it feels like whenever I've watched them away from home, they've sort of they've become, not going to say overwhelmed, but it feels like if the opposition crowd are making a real good atmosphere and really getting behind their own, their home team, United are that extra step slow, that extra step not really bothered. And I really feel that Emirates are going to be rocking. I feel that Emirates are going to be rocking on Saturday.
Will be.
After this game, I think it's going to be absolutely electric. And I really don't think Man United will like that. I agree with you about match winners, and I agree with you that if Ronaldo plays, I think it adds it is a concern. If he doesn't play, I think Man United have got problems. But at the same time, like I feel like if Saka, for example, plays like he did against Chelsea, it doesn't matter who Man United play at left back. It won't matter who they play at left back. And if ESR is going to continue the kind of form that he was the other day, he's going to cause some problems. I don't know if we'll play Martinelli. I don't know what it's going to be. And Eddie, if he keeps on, Man United aren't good defensively. They're absolutely terrible. And so, I've been fairly kind of pessimistic, I think, at times in predictions. And I know a lot of people are saying Man United are the sort of team that, this season's the sort of season where such random things happen that maybe Man United could win. I just don't see it, to be honest. Maybe these words are going to come back to haunt me, but I do feel that we're going to win. And I think it could be like a 3-1 game to Arsenal.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. So my prediction was going to be even more kind of outlandish. I was thinking about this earlier. I was going to go with 4-0 or 4-1. So basically, I think we'll absolutely blitz them. I feel like Yeah, so I pretty much agree with everything you've said. And I think we're going to come out like we haven't really been starting games great in general recently. And I don't know, like I don't feel like we don't seem to we don't often come out the traps and score an early goal and then get another early goal and kind of almost put the game to bed. I feel like that's what's going to happen. I'm kind of basing this just on what I'm hoping to happen as well, but I feel like that is what's going to happen on Saturday, where I think we're gonna come out and Arteta must be saying to them like, look, these guys, you saw what Liverpool done to them. Obviously, we're not Liverpool, but you know they're almost like, if you can get an early goal, you can see the like we were saying before, right? They're not really playing for the shirt anymore. A lot of these players know that they haven't really got a future at United, or are not expected to have a future at United. Their heads might drop and then they might just be there for the taking. And I'm kind of hoping that's how they come out from minute one. And I can see us getting a couple of early goals. And yeah, I think that could lead to like quite a big scoreline and a pretty big and you know, good win for us. And I think, like you say, yeah, like Saka's like probably the kind of occasion that some of these young players are going to relish. Like they've really fed off the crowd this season, and as you say, the ground should be you know, rocking for Saturday on Saturday. And I think, you know, Saka, Smith Rowe, if he starts, Erdegaard, they're gonna really relish the atmosphere. And yeah, I'm going for a big win, big Arsenal win. I'll go 4-1.
Wicked. Well, we think they're going to score. That's the bit that we agree on. We think they'll get a goal. Do you see it as a consolation goal, or like because
like
you know
Ronaldo?
Okay. Yeah.
I think it will be like 2-3, or like 3 or 4 up. I'm like, this is a very like out there prediction, so it's, you know, yeah. Hopefully this doesn't get like clipped up and shared after Saturday, like egg on my face. But yeah,
I don't think we're big enough for people to do that yet. Anyway, look, I think we'll call it there. Like, you know, honestly, I'm still buzzing after the Chelsea win. It was just, and I think one thing I like to sort of say about that is, you know, sometimes in a season, it's really tiring sometimes to spend so much energy thinking about whether you like the manager or not, whether you like the players or not, whether we're going to make top 4 or not, whether we're going to buy this player or not. Like that whole thing gets really tiring. And I think sometimes it doesn't really matter who your manager is, where you are in the league. It's kind of about moments. And, you know, that Chelsea game yesterday, it doesn't really matter how this season ends. I think I'll always remember being part of a game like that. It's similar to when we beat Leicester, I think, you know, in the last kick of the game. Like I'll always remember that game, you know, despite the fact that we never won the league that season. I'll always remember that game, you know, and some other games like that. And you know, it's just such a joy to be there. Very, very lucky to be there. And I think, yeah, if there's again, it's for the moment. Sometimes that's what being a fan's all about, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, like, yeah, don't want to, you know, yeah, drag out the end of the podcast, but yeah, I completely agree. Like, you know, we've been pretty lucky, right, as Arsenal fans, over the years. Like, we kind of, I think me and you missed the kind of golden generation of like 90. Well, basically when Wenger arrived to, you know, when we essentially left Highbury, and we started going when we were able to, when we were old enough and probably could afford it, after we moved to the Emirates and we could start getting tickets. And despite that, there's still been some like you say, some amazing moments, and not even just necessarily matches, but moments and goals and experiences, and, you know, like cup finals and wins against Tottenham, and, you know, wins in other big games and European aways, all that kind of stuff that we've been able to do. So yeah, absolutely. You just got, yeah. Sometimes you've got to step away from like Twitter and social media and a lot of people talking a lot of nonsense, and just yeah, let's just enjoy it, right? Yeah, that's what we're paying our money for. Support our team.
Exactly.
Enjoy it while we can.
Enjoy it, we will, and then we will do our best to enjoy Saturday. Hopefully, it's going to be a win. And because it's an early kickoff, if we do win, it will make the afternoon of drinking so much more fun. I know that you've got plans on, so you can't get too drunk. Yeah,
I can, but yeah, I might not get in. Like, Mrs. might not let me in. Yeah, no, but yeah, no, I definitely have a couple, win or lose. But yes, looking forward to that.
So, look, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much. Please I should have said this at the start. Always forget. Please like and share and subscribe, whatever format that you prefer. We're on pretty much everything. So we really appreciate the support. And yeah, look, enjoy the end of your week. We hope you're all still buzzing after the victory against Chelsea. And hopefully we get a win against United and the top 4 race will still be alive. Fingers crossed. Cool. Good night, all. Well, it's good night for us at the moment. Depends on what time you listen to this, obviously. Take it easy. See you later, Myz.
Cheers, mate. See ya.